Alright everyone, and welcome to Spooky's Hunting for History. I'm Stephen.
And I'm Becky.
And today we're back in Aberdeenshire, off to see Burnavat, as well as checking out an old abandoned settlement, a Pictish cross, a wee bit of wildlife of course, and an extra wee treat at the end if you stick around. So yeah, look out for that. As I said, we're back to Aberdeenshire. That was where we saw the pyramid in a previous video. You'll see here on the map, it's quite a drive from Edinburgh, around 3 hours. So yeah, quite a journey. But here we are in the beginning of the walk towards Burnavat. Now the Burnavat is said to be a naturally formed area, which is why we wanted to check it out, because it does look so unique, sort of really intriguing. So we wanted to get a good look at it. Another interesting point to note about it is it's actually said to be granite, as opposed to all the sandstone that we've been seeing on our adventures. Not too surprising because it's area, Aberdeenshire. Obviously Aberdeen is known as the granite city here in Scotland. That's what we refer to it as because it's got so much granite. So yeah, that'll be another interesting little thing to look out for. And here's a nice big rock we've seen on the way, a very sus looking one. You might agree, but we thought we'd capture this one on film. So yeah. Now before we get to the Burnavat itself, we just wanted to show out some of these really interesting sort of rocks and stuff in the area. Not too many, but we wanted to show this one first. This was on the walk that goes directly to Burnavat, so you can't help but pass this. And we just thought it looked very intriguing and very suspicious. There were some parts of it that were really remarkable, remarkably flat I should say, but yeah, just check out some of this, and as always please do put your thoughts in the comments, because you know we're no experts, we're just out here exploring, looking about, and yeah, seeing what's going on. And just in case you have no idea what I'm talking about, and this is your first ever video on this subject, what we're talking about is that these rocks, these suspicious looking ones like this, of which there's certain things to look out for, that they might be actually old, ancient, very old structures, and we're talking so old that we might not even fully understand who built them or what they were for. That's the theory anyway, and hopefully we'll paint a better picture as this video goes on. I'll also suggest some other videos to check out throughout, as well as in the description. But here's one of those suspicious areas, and look how flat this is. Look at that. It was hidden away, as you can see, under the bushes there. And that was on the way up to the top of this really suspicious looking rock. Just wanted to capture it, because when there's bits like that is so flat and straight like that, really gets my mind going and makes me question, how's it like that, you know? And this is but one interesting feature in the area, I should say. There's actually a lot of places and things that you check out here, but on our limited time we tried to get through what we could, so we captured a wee bit of this, and then we head on to Burnavat itself, and some other interesting things, so please stick around. And here I just wanted to point out what could be some of the join marks between sections of geopolymer. If you don't know what geopolymer is, I've left some links in the description, so check that out. But it's basically meant to be like an old equivalent, an old ancient equivalent of like cement or concrete, whereas it would be like in a liquid form, and it solidify and turn to this rock, which I believe most of the stuff in this area is meant to be granite. So I'm no expert, I'm not really good at telling all these differences, but it's said that most of it in the area is granite. I mean, and look at this. What is going on there? It looked like some sort of, recess that had been filled in or something like that. And here's another one of those potential join lines. I just wanted to highlight it again. And look how flat the wall is here. It's another thing to note. Really reminded me of back at Roslin Glen again. The wall underneath the castle. And here we are. We're going across a bridge. Now we're actually heading away from Burnavat. We thought we'd take a wee look up here before proceeding up the path along the river, which heads to where Burnavat is. And you'll see just by wandering off this beaten path, there is yet another really interesting feature. Look at this, just peeking out. And there is wee bits like this all over the place, and I feel like I say that in so many videos, but it's true. And look at the boulders and stuff lying about. But here is a close look at the so-called granite. You'll see it's made up of all these, look at it, all these little stones and stuff. And just wanted to note that now, because when we get to Barnavat, you can notice a wee bit more of that. But here we go. What do you think? Could this be something peeking out of the ground? Something made by someone a very long time ago? We really do think so, you know. But you know, check out these lovely views. It was a nice bit of walk up here. We didn't get to do this for as long as we would have liked, because we thought we'd better turn back to see Barnavat. But we would hope to come back here and have another wee look around this bit. Here's one of the interesting stones we did see. And look at that, with a sort of different type material. It looks like busting through the middle of it. I just love seeing stuff like that. Really intriguing to see. But here we are heading back towards where the Barnavat is. You'll see here, you just go straight up as opposed to going across the bridge like what we did. So we're now heading towards Barnavat. And just before we do, of course, need to show you a look around at the area. Look at all these boulders again, rocks, lots going on here. Look at that. Some really interesting ones away in the distance up high there. And you know, you've got to open your mind a wee bit to really imagine what it is we're trying to talk about here. You know, to think how old this really would be. That it's become overgrown with forest, whether it be naturally or with a little bit of help from people. But to become totally overgrown and just disappear, to look completely natural, yeah, it would take quite some time. So it must be so old if this really is a sort of, you know, built structure. But anyway, without further ado, this is us approaching the Barnavat right now, and to us it just looks like a collapsed structure. And look at this, really amazing. But you have to go over all this to get in, so I'm actually going to shut up for a wee minute and I'll just let you enjoy our little approach into Barnavat, and I'll hop back in a wee second. So yeah, enjoy. Definitely quicker. There's a plaque there. Much nicer temperature here, right? Should I go for this, eh? Some stepping stones so you can hit it. Yeah? Let's do it. Go.
This is Barnavat. Essentially, it is said to be a natural pothole of sorts. Wikipedia says that 16,000 years ago the area was covered by a glacial ice sheet. They say that as the ice melted from around 14,000 years ago, it carried so much debris previously caught up in the glacial ice. It's thought that a rock from the meltwater got caught in a riverbed, causing the meltwater to flow around it in a spiral in motion, eroding away the rock and creating the pothole we see today. They continue on to say that around 13,000 years ago, the volume of the water decreased and began depositing more than it was eroding. This change resulted in the deposition of sand and gravel into the bottom of the pothole. It's believed that this sediment extends down around 5 to 7 metres below the current ground level, though no one can be certain of that. The pothole itself, known locally as the Vat, measures 18 metres across and 13 metres high from present ground level.
So there you go, there's some of the official narrative behind the Barnavat. But look at this. I mean, when we see things like this, I find it so difficult to accept that it's natural, when it clearly looks like, well, that on the left, there are two massive blocks of some sort on top of each other, and that amazing flat wall in the back. And then what's this coming out from under it? I mean, what's going on to this place? Maybe it is natural, but I find that very hard to believe. I mean, just look at this. It looks like two massive blocks. I mean, these are huge, and that's the ones that we actually walked through. You'll see the wee gap there on the left on the way in.
That's amazing, eh? Hi!
And Becky mentioned the gravel earlier that ends up on the bottom here, and here's a look at it. It really just looks like, you know, the remainder of the granite when it's just been, you know, broken up into all the wee parts. And we'll get a closer look at that in a minute. But first, look at this. How amazing is that? So flat and just so thick and really looking artificial. To us, anyway. But to show you what I was talking about, look at that. That looks like, to me, all those wee stones we see on the bottom, they're just broken apart from eroded granite. At least that's what we're taking a guess at. And here is the waterfall, and we actually go up there I am, to have a wee look about. So everything you see from now is from up high. So this river is also known as the Vat Burn. It runs all the way to Loch Kinard, which we'll get a look at in a minute, right next to the abandoned settlement in Pictish stone. But we'll get there, as I said, soon. Just having a look up here and look at some of these stones. I mean, look at that. Really angular, really suspicious looking. What do you make of it? Now I'm going to go a wee walk up that way, but first, just wanted to get a view from up here, looking down at Barnavat itself. There's Becky. I mean, what an amazing area, eh? It's very mysterious. There's no question about that. But here I am. Please enjoy this short walk that I go on along the burn, just to see what's up here. So yeah, please enjoy. Now this site does tick a lot of the usual boxes. You know, it's got water nearby, a river running past, some of the the alleged structures. It's a nature reserve, and little things like that. So it really did tick some of the boxes, and it was a little bit suspicious to us. Did you catch the wee bit wildlife there? Well, anyway, that said, there isn't anything that's like as in your face about this place as maybe the Geoghegan that we visited, but there's a lot of suspicious parts, and I really do think this is not natural. Look at that. There's lots of wee bits like that everywhere. So much flat stone, and although I acknowledge that the Ice Age, could have pushed through and all this stuff and smoothed out a lot of stone, I just don't imagine that it's done all this. I do think this is made, and this is different for us to see, because we usually see this sandstone stuff everywhere, not so much granite, if that is indeed what this is. So yeah, we found this place pretty intriguing. I mean, look at this. This is so flat, and this is very like back at Rosalind Glen again, under the castle. I mean, look at this line, this what could be a join mark. What do you reckon? I really am suspicious of this area. But the thing is, everything is so massive and it's such a huge scale.
One last peek.
And it makes you also wonder what's under the ground, how much is under. If this is, fabricated, then, I mean, it's monstrous. This place is huge. And that's what I absolutely love about these places, and even visiting places like this, is it just makes you question absolutely everything. And it's thanks to watching, people like Paul Cook really open the mind and, give you the confidence to question these things that otherwise you would look at it and go, wow, that looks like a wall, but it can't be. It's just a natural thing, because that's what we've been told. But no, now we've got the confidence to really question this stuff. And here's one of those bits that I thought, wow, look at that. And just before we head back to Becky, here's some pictures that I took just in this wee bit.
Just going back to Becky. Here we go. Take it nice and slow. I'm just coming now. I'm just over the edge. Hiya, you there? Yeah, you just ended up. I'm literally just at the edge. Just coming now.
That was me just getting told to get a move on. But I made it back just in time, and you'll see Becky actually just in a moment as we peek over this edge down to where she's been standing in the Burnavat for the whole time that we've been away. And she took some good wee footage there while she was there as well on her phone, which we'll show some of that in just a wee moment actually. But here's a good look over the way, and look at that. There's a really interesting bit, that, isn't it? I don't know what's going on there, and I found that bit really intriguing. Really cool bit of rock. And here's another look at it along with some others, so please do let us know what your thoughts. How good was some of that, right? That was just some footage Becky recorded on her phone while she was waiting on me getting back from up high there. But this is us saying farewell to Burnavat, but please stick around as we've got quite a few things still to come up in this video. So that was Barnavat, and now we're just making our way back towards the entrance and the way we came. But there's still a couple of things to see on the way, and we do actually venture a wee bit further across to near the lochs where this river flows. So stick around, because there's some interesting things. Here is just some more of the rocks in the area, but just wanted to show that amazing big rock. This is one we saw on the way again, just from another angle. Very intriguing little spot, and again just so flat. And this is a piece of granite we found in the river, at least I think it was granite. And finally, just wanted to show how easy things just get hidden under the grass and stuff like that here, and everywhere actually, and you just never know what's around you. Passing by our favourite big rock again on the way out, and yeah, about to move on, but before we do, look at this, just again showing off how flat some of these structures are. Structures, I'm calling them that now. These rocks, sorry, how flat some of them are. Really intriguing. As I said, we're moving on now, exploring the Muir of Dinnet National Nature Reserve in hopes to see a Pictish standing stone that is in the area. That was our original goal anyway, but we ran into some other intriguing things along the way. So here's some of those things. We saw some mushrooms on the way. Lots of mushrooms actually, all over the place. And look at these bits of fungi growing out of the tree. We don't know much about that stuff, but we thought it looked cool. Reminded me of that scene in Ace Ventura. And all these hairy moss stuff growing all over the tree as well, we thought was intriguing.
Boom. Oh, a sign.
And those signs were meant to be directing us to a Pictish standing stone, but we did get a little bit lost. But we weren't annoyed about that, because we did discover something really interesting. So it turns out this is actually a place called Old Kinord. And here's Becky to tell you a wee bit more about it.
Sitting on the land between Loch Davin and Loch Kinord is Old Canard. It was a settlement said to be surrounded by a wall and featuring many hut circles, cairns, 2 earth houses and a chambered structure, as well as extensive field systems and trackways. There was also said to be a stone disc and unidentified flints round there. It's unknown exactly when the settlement was founded, but BritainExpress.com says the most likely dates range from the 1st millennium BCE to the end of the 1st millennium AD.
So it doesn't seem like there's a whole huge load of knowledge about this place, but it was really, really cool to see, and it did make you think when you saw a building like the remains that you just see there. I mean, it looks pretty decent quality, and to think that it could be part of such an old village, what they're calling an ancient village, I mean, I just think that's really cool. And you might have seen on the plaque there that it actually said it was a thriving community in the 1840s, home to 22 people of all ages. It said that the country saw big changes during the century. A lot of jobs went away from the land. And by the 1950s there was actually nobody left living here.
Do you hear it? Should I tell everyone what it is? About? What's that noise?
I don't know that Scotland had cuckoos, but only the male cuckoo bird makes that sound. So it's a lot male.
Right.
So there you have it, that was a cuckoo that we were hearing. Pretty cool, eh? I didn't know that they were in Scotland either. But moving on, and we were very keen to find this Pictish standing stone still, so onwards we go.
Do you want it? lightened up. Ah, we found it.
Oh, good.
The sign was wrong.
It was.
Found it.
Well, it wasn't pointing
Found
towards
it.
this, anyway.
There she is.
This is Kinord Cross, a carved slab of granite said to date from the end of the Pictish era, sometime around the 9th century. It is thought that the cross was once associated with the chapel of a nearby Canard castle. In the late 19th century, the cross was moved to Aboyne Park but returned to the shores of Loch Canard in 1959 at approximately its original location. As BritainExpress.com says, the carving is beautifully crisp and clean, even after the passage of over 1,000 years.
Amazing, isn't it? I mean, it really does look amazing, especially if it is after 1,000 years. Now that piece of land that you can see in the middle of the loch there, and this is Loch Kinord by the way, that bit of land you see in the middle of it is said to be Castle Island. And it said there was once a castle standing there, although there's pretty much nothing left of it now. You can still find stones from it if you go over there. And a lot more I bet. Maybe one day if we ever get a spookies boat, we'll go over and have a wee look about. And just before we move on, just have a wee look at the standing stone one more time. Yeah, we do love our standing stones, and we certainly love our Pictish history. We've got a video actually on the channel where we go visiting some Pictish stones if you're interested in that sort of thing. We made that before we used to do any of these regular hunting for history videos or anything like that, so well worth a check, because it's really intriguing, some of the stuff there, and I love the carved stones. I love the mystery behind them, that we don't know what a lot of those symbols mean. I'm back out now on our way back to where our car was parked, but we had to walk past the village again, you know, old Kinord. And you could really see this wall. I think this might have been the wall that they said surrounded it, but perhaps not, but it went for a very long way, and it was actually quite thick. If you look at the map here, you can actually see it from the sky, and you can see the Pictish stone there that we were just at the bottom, and you can see the wall going all the way along. So here we are back on the village, walking past the wall again, but we are about to move on from this area, so enjoy these last few moments from it, including this, which we filmed purely because we thought it looked really nice with that green on it. But yeah, what a lovely day, lovely weather, and great wee adventure, discovering a place we never knew was here. Of course though, it wouldn't be a spookies video without a wee bit of wildlife, and we've not had enough. So, before we go, we're going to show you a little bit of wildlife we found on the way out. And it all happened at once. I mean, look at this. Can you see this wee guy? It was a lizard in Scotland. We didn't even know, well, I didn't even know you could get lizards in Scotland. Becky knew, but you'll see him dash off again here. Very cool. I've never seen that before.
Drill, mate. Better hold your breath, Bex.
And what about this wee fella? I actually almost stood on this little guy. He was so well camouflaged and I just wasn't paying attention. Luckily Becky shouted at me, and here he is. I think he was trying to play dead at this point, or at least not let us notice him. But as we hung around, he slowly started moving about, or she started moving about, and yeah, here they are, another wee bit wildlife.
You better move, pal, because you'll get stepped on. I almost stepped on you. Hey.
Did he bite?
Yeah.
There we go, don't worry, we made sure they got to the edge of the path next to the bushes and all that, so as to lower their chances of getting stepped on or snatched up by anything or anybody else. So that was Tomnaverie. and a wee bit of the surrounding areas. What do you think? In terms of Burnavat, we do think that Burnavat could be something really, really old. A really old structure that we as humans just cannot understand. Similar to the places that we see at Roslin Glen. You know, are we just seeing the peaks of massive structures poking out? Who knows? Before we go though, we did promise a spookies treat. And today, the spookies treat is a wee visit to Tomnaverie Standing Stone Circle. So here is Tomnaverie Stone Circle. According to historicenvironment.scot, it says that it is a recumbent stone circle, a kind of monument found only in northeastern Scotland. It says that their characteristic feature is a large stone on its side flanked by two upright stones. You can see that right there. They continue on to say that the stone circle actually surrounds a burial cairn dating to about 4,500 years ago. That's the official story anyway. They also say that the site appears to have seen use as late as the AD 1600s. It is situated in a landscape littered with the remains of stone circles and burial cairns. And right enough, these areas are known for that sort of stuff, as you'll have maybe seen in our pyramid video. I really wonder what these places were for. You know, what were they assembled for? Many ideas, put them in the comments. I've heard of a few over the years, but I've never really found one that I think it fits, if you know what I mean. And what's intriguing about this one is that this mound is right bang in the middle, and if you look all the way around, there's all sorts of other hills all the way around it, but this is right in the middle of this massive piece of land, and it stands up high. Everything goes lower all around it, and then you'll get these high hills way further away. I think it's a really interesting spot, actually, and when you're standing on it, I mean, the camera is just not doing it justice right now. It's really, really interesting when you're standing there. And can you believe what was right next to the stone circle here? Do you know what it is? It's meant to be a nuclear bunker, apparently. Right next to the stone circle. Yeah, quite amazing. At least we know where to go now when all the bombs start going off. But what do you think? It was locked up. We'll get a wee closer look at it in just a second. All locked up. Can't get in there. I did find a picture online though of what the interior is said to look like, so check out in the corner of the screen now.
But we might need to get that replaced. Well found. Oh! Is anyone in there?
That's one thing we never planned on finding on this trip, but really cool to see it nonetheless. Yeah. Please enjoy these last wee scenes before we move on.
Face mask. Right, let's go. Goodbye Stone Circle, hopefully you feel and energies.
Thanks so much again for joining us. What do you think of Burnavat? Please leave your thoughts in the comments.
Or maybe give a like if you enjoyed it.
or maybe even consider subscribing, because we've got loads of stuff on the way. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it. But for now, we'd like to say thank you for watching, and a big cheerio.